In the very next scene, we are shown a massive clue on the sign for Lydeker's veterinary clinic. It reads, "Aid to the Beast Incarnate," which seems a rather odd thing to put on a sign for an animal clinic, a statement which infers that Bob is a helper or is somehow associated with the base desires, the lower animal instincts, the base desires of the flesh, or in other words, a servant of the devilish one or the lower aspect of spirit. Here in the physical realm where the police investigation is taking place, just as in Agent Cooper's dream, we are being unconsciously pointed to a direct and spiritual relationship between the one-armed man and Bob, which we will go into more detail a little later. But at this point in the show, it's not exactly clear what could a shoe salesman have to do with a veterinarian anyway, and what is Mike or Philip Gerard's relationship to Bob exactly. The sign on the clinic is pointing us in a certain direction. We already know that aid to the beast incarnate signals the animalistic and lower nature of spirit. In this fatalistic spirit duo here, it means, or it seems to mean, that Mike is making a real effort at reforming himself, or perhaps this is just his cover story. Having rejected the devilish one, Mike has seemingly graduated, in a way, from the realm of the animalistic to serving the realm of the humans, albeit on the lowest level by being a shoe salesman. So he's like this reformed spirit, and he's starting at the ground floor, and he is, in hopes of working his way up the spiritual ladder, as it were. Or perhaps Mr. Gerard, as a shoe salesman, is symbolic for the bestial aspects of humanity, right? It doesn't seem like a coincidence to me in either case. Now, a little later, after descending upon Jacques Renault's apartment, Agent Cooper finds another copy of the magazine Flesh World. In it, he spots a want ad, presumably from Laura Palmer. With Cooper's keen eye for detail, he notices red drapes in the background from the photo in the ad. The same red drapes he remembers from his dream. Just like the clues with Mr. Gerard and Lydeker's animal clinic, we are being brought into a convergence and a connection between the dream world of Dale Cooper and the events unfolding in what we presume to be the real world of Twin Peaks. Now, the magnifying glass between the eye and the photo is really a brilliant and understated element in this scene. Agent Cooper then raises the question, why would an apartment dweller like Jacques buy 50 gallons of heating oil? To which Sheriff Truman replies, to heat a log cabin. Episode 6 in Season 1 is unique in that it is giving us many different confirmations of Dale Cooper's premonition from Episode 3. Or perhaps this is merely a continuation of Agent Cooper's visions, and the entirety of the Twin Peaks universe is in fact a dream world where everyone and everything is an aspect of Cooper's own psyche. I think this particular shot brought me an unconscious notion of the Hindu Trimurti, complete with each character starting with Dale, symbolizing Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva for some reason. I know this sounds bizarre, and it really wasn't intentional. This is just how I'm seeing it. Now, Agent Cooper as the dreamer, or Brahma, Sheriff Truman as Vishnu, the preserver, and Hawk as Shiva, representing the metaphysical, the destroyer, or the spiritual void. To me, it fits pretty well, at least the way I interpret it. Now, a little later in Episode 6, Bobby Briggs is taken to see Dr. Jacoby. Bobby completely breaks down after admitting to the doctor that Laura's darkness was so pervasive and overwhelming that, in the words of Dr. Jacoby, quote, Laura wanted to corrupt people because that's how she felt about herself, end quote. This is why Bobby Briggs sold drugs. He did it for Laura. Or more accurately, he was under the same dark gravitational forces as Laura, albeit to a far lesser degree. So he was in her orbit, but he wasn't in the center of it. Bobby says that Laura tried to be a force of light in the world, but that something was pulling her back down to hell, which of course was presumably the doing of her own father. Which is exactly why Bob wanted to possess Laura Palmer. Or perhaps more accurately, if Bob were to possess Laura, like Leland's, her soul would be lost forever. The ending shot in this scene with Bobby in Dr. Jacoby's office is really quite telling also. It signals the dark and tortured spirit of Laura possessing the living memory of Bobby Briggs. Just how the spirit of light is carried and passed on, so too may some of this darkness be carried by others and passed to us. Just in the same way Bob wishes to possess Laura, Laura's light was destroyed by her father. The only trajectory left for Laura's spirit was the way of darkness, or at least that's the sense that I get for most of the story. Now, darkness possesses the mind and spirit of all who come into contact with it. The only difference is that Laura did not believe she could transcend this overwhelming darkness and come into contact with her own inner light, having no angel to watch over her. Which is why we are instead shown a black bird. This represents a dark spirit of the Black Lodge, something which has touched Bobby but cannot completely possess him, unlike what Bob wants to do or wanted to do with Laura. Now, searching for this log cabin in the woods, from the picture they found in Renault's apartment, the Bookhouse boys first come across a different cabin where the log lady has been waiting for them for quite some time already. As Coop and Sheriff Truman enter the room for tea, and just moments before having been made to feel silly by a woman who carries and talks to a log of all things, Cooper shoots the sheriff a look as if to say, we are obviously in the wrong cabin. What's up with this crazy lady who just made us feel like rookie cops? And then the log lady, she catches this this energy coming from Agent Cooper, and she says something really important. She says, quote, shut your eyes and you'll burst into flames, unquote. And the sheriff immediately after that, that's when Dale Cooper, shoots him this look like, what the hell's going on here? This is a very famous line, shut your eyes and you'll burst into flames. But I don't think anyone has given it much thought as to what Margaret Lanterman may be talking about. The dance of meaning and meaninglessness is definitely on display here, but to me, the log lady sees everything. She is a great sage after all. Just a moment before, inside of the cabin, she tells them that the owls, when they're outside, she tells them the owls won't see us in here. So her remarks were to indicate that either she's batshit crazy or really does see that which is not plainly visible otherwise. As Agent Cooper attempts to extradite the party from this interaction with Margaret, Hawk gestures to him to relax and accept the log lady's hospitality. Now, throughout this entire show, Hawk and the Log Lady have a very special kinship. Both characters are representing sages or wisdom keepers.